भंड जमिए भंड निमिए भंड मंगन व्याहो भंडो होए दोस्ती भंडो चले राह भंड मुआ भंड भालिए भंड हुआ पांधान सो क्यों मंदा आखिए चित जमे राजान भंडो ही भंड उपजे भंडे पांच ना कोय नानक भंडे बाहरा एको सच्चा सोए एको सच्चा सोए.
We oppose objectification of women, but how about those who are not women? How about the Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra? How about a female interviewer and her female colleagues performing a dance in front of him during a video interview? Recently, Neeraj Chopra was video interviewed by a radio jockey who, along with several other females, decided to perform a dance in front of the athlete on a Bollywood song. The words of the song go like this: Uden jab jab zulfen teri, kavarion kadil machle. It is not yet clear what the true intention of the radio jockey and her colleagues was, but the question is if these kinds of acts objectify sports people like Neeraj Chopra or others who would rather want to be known for their achievement in sports. In this particular case, opinions were divided. There were those who found it funny, but a large number of netizens criticized this. Several netizens on Twitter even asked how it would look if, instead of Neeraj, it was a female athlete being interviewed by a male journalist who would perform a dance with his male colleagues singing a Bollywood song. Wouldn't that be disrespectful, embarrassing, or uncomfortable for the female athlete? But as far as reversing genders in a given scenario is concerned, we can easily have many uncomfortable situations. Allow me to mention one example that almost everyone else seems to have ignored. Perhaps you may have come across movies in which an injury to male genitals is portrayed as humorous or a funny situation. Not only that, if you are watching those kinds of scenes with females, don't be surprised if you notice female viewers giggling or laughing while watching those scenes. Even in public spaces like cinema halls, you may hear females giggling or laughing while watching scenes in which a male has received a traumatic blow to his private parts. No, I am not talking about those movie scenes in which women in their self-defense hit back at a man or the scenes from action movies. I'm talking about the movie scenes in which a man has accidentally received a blow to his private part, and as viewers, we are supposed to receive that as something funny or normal. For example, even the film Yes Day, which is supposed to be watched by families and kids, has exactly that kind of troubling scene. But to me, it seems that there can be several objections to this. Why do these movie makers portray the injury to male private parts as something funny? And how would it look if we reverse the genders there? In the context of an injury to private parts, can you imagine how angry we would be if males laughed in a cinema hall watching an injured female on the screen? Yes, it is true that for generations many women around the world have lived in conditions which have largely given the power and control to men. But if we truly want to create a well-balanced, healthy society, can we afford to ignore misandry and what they term as reverse sexism? There is nothing wrong in opposing patriarchy and the institutions that systemically oppress women, but in that fight, let us not forget that we need both men and women to participate, and we need an environment that is fair and just to all, regardless of their gender.
Dobrze.
Many have walked for hundreds of kilometers carrying their babies, and many even cycled for thousands of kilometers just to reach their native homes. Sharing the painful pictures of these migrant workers on social media can be easy, but if the policymakers really want to understand their pain and hardships, how about trying to live like them for at least a day? Or at least, how about walking for the whole day carrying a heavy weight in temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius? Now they have started running trains for them, but due to non-availability of local transportation, hundreds of migrant workers are still being forced to walk in the scorching heat every day.
So right now I'm in India and the temperature is more than 40 degrees Celsius. The grocery shop that we usually go to is around 7 kilometers from where we live. So let's see whether in these conditions I'm able to get there on foot. You know, for us, the most challenging part of cooking is the procedure of cooking itself. But for those who have to walk for miles in order to get the ingredients for cooking, things are a lot different. Now I'm understanding this. So somehow I made it to the shop and I did the shopping, but the toughest part will begin now. I'm carrying 2 shopping bags with me that weigh approximately 10 to 12 kilograms, and now I'm going to walk to my apartment, which is around 7 kilometers from here. I have covered 1 kilometer so far, and I have already had like 4 breaks. All this while I've been thinking about these migrant workers and how tough their lives are. If the policymakers themselves were forced to walk like this even for a day, they would have made better arrangements for these people. I think I'm going to quit.
Even though the World Health Organization has issued various guidelines in relation to the coronavirus and has clearly mentioned the do's and don'ts regarding the whole situation, many across the world continue to look for their own unique ways to contain the virus. In particular, the media outlets in countries like Pakistan and Malaysia were quick to pick up the story of a small Hindu group in India which organized a gathering in which the participants consumed cow urine as a measure to increase their body's immunity to fight off any potential encounter with the coronavirus. Quite rapidly, this became a global story as the media outlets from across the world decided to give this incident a lot of exposure. These types of media exposures can easily bring the global attention to those groups or peoples who are yet to properly follow the science that the modern society endorses. But as a responsible global community, should we just stop here? Or should we also try to help and reach out to other groups whose practices are also not in sync with the best available science of today? Why should we be only concerned about the Hindu community? Isn't it unfair to other communities or groups which also deserve to benefit from such media exposure? Shouldn't we urge the global media to provide an equal opportunity to other communities to get modernized? For example, the World Health Organization has warned against consuming camel urine, but the consumption of camel urine for its medicinal purposes is still a common practice in many nations. What is even more disturbing is that camel urine is actually linked to the spread of a disease known as Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus, which was first identified in Saudi Arabia in 2012. According to WHO, the MERS virus has been identified in dromedary camels in several countries, including Egypt, Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Born in Saudi Arabia, this disease even took the lives of many in South Korea. Even the coronavirus pandemic appears to have worsened because of some religious practices. Laura Spinney, who is a British science journalist, notes, "The South Korean cluster of COVID-19 seems to have spread via churches, while pilgrims in Iran have posted videos of themselves defiantly licking the Fatima Masumeh shrine in the city of Qom." On the other hand, in America, televangelist Kenneth Copeland is miraculously healing his viewers of the coronavirus through their televisions, and in various churches across the world, magical healing sessions are organized regularly. Yes, in every religion, there are many behaviors and rituals that appear to be completely unscientific. Additionally, it should also be understood that the traditional medicinal system cannot always sync with the modern medicine, but as far as animal urine is concerned, modern medicine has accepted it too. A good example of this is the estrogen replacement drug Premarin, which is made from horse urine. But can we always ensure that science is not lying to us? If some religious people are blind about their faith, then many science lovers are also blind about science. In 2012, the British multinational pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline was fined $3 billion after it admitted to encouraging the prescription of unsuitable antidepressants to children and bribing doctors. The company even sponsored lavish holidays and five-star hotels for the psychiatrist and had supporting articles in top medical journals which were written by the so-called independent doctors. As the doctors were playing golf and going fishing on their sponsored holidays, antidepressants were causing havoc in the lives of innocent children who didn't even need to go on these medications. Another antidepressant drug sold to adults was packaged as a wonder drug that could even help you stop smoking, stay happy, and lose weight. This case was termed as the largest case of healthcare fraud in the American history. Now give it a thought. The victims of this healthcare fraud were just following science, weren't they? In case you want to broaden your perspective on science and scientific misconduct, I recommend you this episode, which is already available in public domain. Yes, we want to be progressive, and some of us even ridicule old traditions and traditional lifestyles, but have we done enough to discourage our own behaviors which are not backed by science? Have we done enough to educate our modern women about FASD? Have we told them what the best available science says about drinking alcohol during pregnancy? Have we done enough to discourage underage drinking that is linked to various types of crimes and sexual risky behaviors? Have we also realized that we are also creating a type of societal pressure on others to follow our ways and choices which are not even backed by science? Yes, we are rightfully concerned about some unscientific traditional practices as well as the spread of coronavirus. But have we done enough to discourage promiscuous behavior and casual dating that leads to multiple partners and the spreading of all sorts of viruses and infections? Don't we know that the best available science clearly says that no amount of protection can guarantee safe sex? Yes, it may be easy to criticize people, cultures and nations, but it is very difficult to do a sincere self-introspection. Keeping that in mind, I have published a series of multiple episodes that should help the viewers in broadening their perspective. As far as the coronavirus is concerned, the smart thing to do is to visit the WHO official webpage to get the latest updates. If you like our work, please come forward and support it financially. See you again.